Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. Today, got a little bit of a different video for you. I had a friend of mine approach me and ask if I could do a restoration on this. It's a vintage lantern. Actually, she's got a few of these here, but I wanted to kind of show you these. I've never actually seen one. I mean, maybe I've seen a few pictures of them, but this is what she brought me. This one's in pretty rough shape. You can tell by some of the rust that you can see here. This is really the first time, I mean, I saw them when she pulled them out of her truck, but this is the first time I'm seeing these, so you're seeing them with me for the first time. It's made by Adlake Kerosene. I did a little bit of research on this company, and it's been around for quite some time. I don't know if they're defunct now, but this lantern is quite defunct. Let's see, we can kind of make out something on the bottom here. Pretty difficult. Yeah, I think I could see Adlake Kero there. Let me flip it around here. Well, it's got a fair bit of rust. Let me show you guys this second one here. This handle, this one swings and pivots out of the way. The other handle is rigid, so I want to take a look at that because these are going to be for a project that she's working on. So this is the second one here, and this one kind of neat. It has a red lens or a red globe, and she said that this is indicative of this would be the lantern that would go with the caboose. So these are train lanterns, and in this case, the red one indicated the caboose, and the other one was not. You can see this handle here is, like I said, it's kind of rigid, and I think it's because of this clip right here. I kind of looked at it briefly again when she handed it to me, and I'd like these to both be flexible, so I think it looks pretty straightforward to just pop that down. Let's take a look underneath it here. This one we can see pretty clear. So USA, Canada, patents 1921, 1923. So that makes sense just given the age of these. I mean, these are oil-filled lanterns, so they're definitely primitive, right? I mean, we don't use oil lanterns anymore. Take a look at this here. So this is a tetanus shot waiting to happen. So that's going to have to come off. There's another one on this side. That'll have to come off. She didn't give me much in the way of direction as to how she wanted me to restore these, if she wanted them original or painted. We'll kind of see as I get into it. The first thing I could see there's a bunch of rust and gunk coming off these, but I want to see if I can get this handle to lie down. To open them, I believe you just push this button. Yeah, and that kind of releases the top. I don't know what's in these things. So I'm hoping nothing comes crawling out on us. I want to look at this glass. Look what we've got in there. This is the remnants of a hobo or a tramp. What is it, a hobo or a tramp? Pretty funny, but a tramp means something a little different in the U.S., but I think these are the dinner remnants of a hobo that was residing in this. But hobos or tramps, that's going to be the main topic here, because again, a tramp means something a little different in the United States and other areas. I think wherever you're from, what does tramp and hobo mean? Let's pop this one open here. This is the one that's really rusted, so I'm curious as to what I'm going to find once we get this thing out. But I want to take a look at the glass, because this is most important. If the glass is broken, and it looks to be pretty good. I see some yellowing here at the bottom from the rust, but I think the glass is in good shape. Here's where the rust is coming from. All this, where this is the lantern part, and I don't know if this is how this is attached. It seems like, oh yeah, it just broke loose there. So this is the part she wants removed. She no longer wants to use them on oil anymore, and you can see this has seen better days. Yeah, so water has gotten in here, and she lives in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know where these originally were from. Let's see if this turns. Look at that, the thing still turns. So this is how you would originally, this little can was filled with oil, and then you would light that wick there, and then you could adjust it by raising or lowering it. I think you would probably just set it in one position, say like down here, and then the flame would illuminate. But oh, here's where the hobo is, or the tramp, living down in the bottom here. It looks like maybe an egg, probably long gone. And then a shot of some of this rust here. So I'm hoping that this rust isn't totally penetrated the metal. That'll make it a little bit tougher to do any restoration on it. Let's see if this one comes out as well. It should. This one should be easy. No, it's not easy. This one is kind of stuck in here. There we go. So this one was kind of stuck worse than the rusted one. There's some gunk in the bottom here, so check this out. This one's got a dent in it, and again, these cans we're not going to use anymore. She wants me to turn these into electrical, her words were electrify these for me. So I'm going to go ahead and come up with a way to make them a little more modern, so we can get rid of these, the oil lantern parts. This one turns as well. Incredible. Take a look at the inside of this. This one's not near as bad. Yeah, I say that as I'm dumping crap on my workbench, right? A few little chinguses down in there. I don't know what that is. So this was the one that has the rigid rail here, and I think if this just gets pushed down, it's down and then up. So that's how this works. This one's kind of stuck on this side. Maybe if I put it on my bench here, I can kind of get some leverage on it. So yeah, pushing this down, there it goes. And now it should be free to swing. So that's good. Yeah, because she's, again, going to use these in her patio. They're doing a restoration on their patio. So we're having some restored lanterns for a restored patio. So I think it's going to be a pretty cool project. Let me get this thing back out of here. Making a mess here on my workbench. So I'm going to start with seeing if I can get this top piece off here. I don't know how this is on. It screws, it has to come off. It's got a bit of a spring mechanism here. Let's try to just twist it. Maybe the spring is, I see a little clip down in there. Let's see if I can, there's the clip right there. Okay, so now we've got this piece off, and you can see there's this little tab right here. That tab, this is pretty rusted. Not bad though. It's kind of more surface rust. That tab lines up with these little pins right here. We've got one on either side. I don't know if you can make that out. One right there, and then the other one on the other side. You can see it, and then this little flat indented spot lines up with them, and you push it and turn it. Let's try the other one and make sure that one's going to come off just as easy, because this was the one that was really rusted. I can kind of see that tab in there, so maybe a 90-degree turn, them lined up. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, same thing. This one is definitely more rusted. Wow, it's got some spider webs here. Let's make sure the spring is still springy, and it is. It's not too bad. So again, if this was really bad rust, oh, what is that? Check it out. We found our hobo or our tramp. Check it out. Did you see that? Let's see if we can get it to come out here. I don't know if it's a spider. Oh, that's a pincher bug. So yeah, we found it. I guess this isn't what laid that egg. That looked like a spider, but yeah, this is our hobo here. So I'm going to go ahead and take him or her, see if we can get her out of this. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go, before I give it too much of a headache, I'm going to take him outside, release him back into the forest, and be back in just a bit. I wanted to show you guys this. This was the third lamp that she sent. You saw the first two. This one, quite a bit heavier and bigger, but this was the third lamp. I didn't get it on the original video. It's in fair shape. It's just pretty dirty. This is also an Adlake lamp. This is the non-sweating Adlake lamp from Chicago. It's got some writing here. Yeah, I'll kind of try to read that later, but it's got these cool lenses. It's got a blue and a red lens. You can kind of see them here. This thing just looks like it's going to need to be kind of washed off. I got pretty good hopes for this one, that it's not going to be as bad as those others that are rusted. Let's take a look at the inside of this one here. It's got a cool little mechanism, and this thing is, yeah, it's pretty sturdy, heavy. Let's look at its lamp inside. Check out this one, quite a bit different. It's got a glass flue, is that what that's called? And then look at this mechanism here that turns it. Oh, this one's kind of stuck, it's not really turning. You turn this knob here, and then that raises the wick. So let's see if I can pull this out. This handle is keeping me from pulling it out. I guess that's it. So we got to pull this handle out, and then that's going to relieve the mechanism inside here. Check this out. So as you pull the handle, that kind of releases this mechanism, and then the lantern part can come out of the unit. So let's get that out of here. Wow, yeah, this one's pretty cool. Check this one out. It's pretty cool looking. Let's take a look at the inside of this lantern, see how bad the rust is in there. Yeah, there's a lot of surface rust. Nothing horrible. So let's close this up, and I'm going to get to cleaning these, and I will get back to you guys as soon as I've got this done. And we're back. So it's been quite a bit of time from the last time I was making this video, and here's what we've got. So take a look at this. I've done a fair bit of cleaning on these. I'll show you guys some of the products that I use, but I wanted to save you all the work of watching me clean these, because it was really just the process of doing it. But you can see the rust has come off most of this, still springy. Again, it was pretty much surface rust. This isn't the one that had our hobo in it. It was this one here. So this was the one that was really rusted. So remember how this thing looked. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So now quite a bit better. Again, this spring still functional, and I think this kind of came out pretty good for what we were working with. I even cleaned up these a bit. I don't know if you remember, this one was the one that was really rusted. So I wanted to clean these up. Remember, this is what it looked like when we originally saw it. Yeah, it was rough. So I wanted to clean these just in case you ever wanted to kind of put them back to their original status. And then check out the inside of this thing. It's really clean in here. I think the oil tended to, it probably preserved quite a bit, even along the edges. The rust, it really kept the rust down. So I think the oil was the saving grace of these. But we'll just give her these when we give her the lamps back. And then I've got the glass fairly cleaned up. I've got one more process I want to do on this glass to really make it shine, but you can see that yellowing from the rust has pretty much come off. And this red one looks pretty good as well. I really like the way this came out. Again, I'll show you my final process that I do on glass to really make it shine. But I want to show you guys these lanterns here, because I kind of like the way they came out. This was the worst of the two, so you kind of get an idea of now what it looks like. Quite a bit better, in my opinion. I'll show you, see that scuff down there at the bottom. I'll show you how we'll address those. So I'm not completely done with these, but most of it you can see on the inside here. And then on the top, there was quite a bit of rust there that was fairly deep. So we got most of that removed. And remember this one, we couldn't read the bottom. So now take a look at it here. So it's definitely more legible. You can kind of see it's the Adlake Kerosene Company, USA and Canada patents, and the date on it. So I'm pretty happy with the way this came out. Again, I'll show you how I address those little bits of like staining that happens, but take a look at this one. This was the one that was a little better of the two. This thing came out super shiny. I left a couple of the dents in the top. I could have taken the inside piece out and pounded those out, but I kind of wanted it to kind kind of keep some of its character. I mean, this thing looks so good that it's almost like one you would buy today in a store. It kind of shockingly how clean it came out. But see, that piece there is the one, that's the little baffle that could have probably removed that and then pounded out those dents. But I thought I would just leave that in to kind of add some character. But overall, this thing came out pretty nice. And again, the bottom of this one was fairly shiny to begin with, so just kind of polished it up a bit. And I want to show you kind of what I did and how I did it, kind of just abbreviated version. This is mostly what I used in this is a bunch of different steel wool grits. So I started with these here. This is just a plain SOS pad. These are a little different. They have like a chemical inside that helps the cleaning. But then I go into this one here, which is a 00. So this 00 is a bit of a finer, you can see here by the texture of it, definitely finer than the SOS pad. And then I kind of finish it off. Once I'm done with the 00, I go to this quad or a 4/0. This stuff here is really fine, so it's it does a good job polishing. So that was mostly what I did to get most of that rust off. I also used my main product here is this. This is a rust dissolver from Rust-Oleum, and I have no affiliation with any of these guys. It's just a product that I use, and it works really good. I've used it quite a bit, but it has some drawbacks. This gel version has a drawback, and that is if you look at this lantern here, you'll see that it kind of leaves this residue, this milky kind of residue that's on there. And it's not a big deal, it comes off, but you want to, if you ever use that rust remover, you'll want to do it in an inconspicuous spot first, because sometimes it really does some work on the metal. But what I'll do is I just take this and then use that 4/0 steel wool, and you could pretty much remove any of the staining that's left behind from the, I believe it's just a chemical process. I don't really know exactly what's happening with that rust remover. I'm sure some of you guys, you do know the chemical process that happens when you use that rust dissolver. But you can see here, right there where I worked on it, it does take off that reaction that happens, that kind of milky residue that's left behind. So this is where I knew I had to kind of just readdress some of these lanterns, and I wanted to save this rather than just do it outside, because I did most of these out of my shop. Rather than just do the entire process, I thought I would show you just a little bit of kind of what was involved here. So it was really, once I used that steel wool pad, the SOS pad that did a lot of the major removing of the rust, in combination with the rust dissolver. Then I went back over it with that 00 pad to get rid of some of the scratches that are left in. And then finally I go with this 4/0 pad and just really kind of shine everything up here. I went through the bars here like I'm doing, just everywhere. I even stuck this on the end of a pencil, tried to get into these little nooks and crannies, because you can see it kind of does, it does a pretty good job at getting into the spots, but I'm kind of limited to my fingers here trying to get into these little areas. So I did the best I could with getting these things to kind of shine up, and then yeah, you can get an idea. I'm making a complete mess in my lab here, and I don't know if yeah, you could kind of see here, it does look quite a bit better. So again, I see that little spot right there, so I would just readdress that. And again, putting this thing on the end of a pencil, an eraser, it kind of really lets you get into the nooks. But right now, I want to get this stuff out of my room, because I don't know about you, but if you ever do any electrical work, mute the sound here, or at least lower it. If you ever do any electrical work, you'll know that steel wool and electrical products do not play well together. So yeah, I'm going to get all this steel wool kind of vacuumed up, clean off my workbench. Let's open this thing back up here, and I want to show you this this product that I use for the glass. This is something that my wife kind of turned me on to years ago, and I love this stuff. I use this for just about everything that I'm cleaning. It's Stowaway, and it's an ammonia-free product, but this thing really does a great job, and I've yet to find anything that this harms. Not saying that it's not out there, but take some fresh paper towels, and then this makes like a kind of a foam on the glass or metal that you're spraying it on, and then watch how these things kind of shine up. I mean, it's just a little bit of work extra, and I mean, you could already see the difference in this glass. It really, really looks good. So just about any product that I'm trying to kind of add that little extra touch, this is what I'll go to. So again, look at this glass here. It looks pretty good, but it kind of takes on a whole nother shine with this stuff. You can see it. I mean, just almost instantaneously that whatever is in that, some magic. Look at the shine that this glass kind of has. So yeah, it's the simple things, but I do really like that stuff, and I use it on pretty much everything. So I'd even take the lantern here, and I will kind of wipe it down with this stuff. It just adds a little bit of shine. And again, I haven't had this harm any metals, plastics. I've used it on a few different things. I always try it in an inconspicuous spot first, but so far I haven't had it do much damage. And you could kind of see, I want these to be really clean in case, I'm not sure if she's going to have any carpet down on the ground where she's doing her like an indoor-outdoor carpet, and I don't want to have any marks left. So I'll use this to kind of get off any gunk that's on the bottom of these things, on the bars. You can kind of see here, it does take some of that whatever residue off, and then that way it's not going to leave any stains. Oh, I don't want you guys to see that. Let me move that out of the way. I'll show you that in just a second. That's kind of how I address the lantern part of this, because again, she wanted me to, in her words, electrify these. So I had a few different ideas of what I was going to do. While I'm cleaning this off, I had thought about using a 110 volt plug, and I didn't want to do that because if they're outside and there's moisture kind of issues, if her home isn't wired up correctly. So yeah, I opted to not go that route, and I'll show you here what I did to address that. I decided to go rather than, yeah, you can kind of take a look at these and see. Yeah, they're not perfect, but again, we're dealing with something from the early 1900s, so I think they came out pretty good. So I'm going to reinstall these, remembering these notches here, and get the lenses installed. And these are the clips that they go in. So if you ever take these apart, look for these little clips and that notch, and then just kind of line the notch up with the recessed part. Give it a push straight down, and then turn it 90 degrees. And now it's kind of locked in. It's a pretty simple mechanism, but it works. And that gives you the spring that holds the glass in. I'll do the same thing on the other one here. So getting back to the electrical portion of this, I wanted to come up with a way that would make it fairly easy to turn them on and off, and make it to where it's safe. That was my biggest concern, was safety. Again, I didn't want to use line voltage in case she didn't have a GFI or a GFCI outlet outside, and if these were to get wet, yeah, it could be a bad day. So I decided to not go with line voltage. That's in there firm, and I wanted to show you this. So this, remember that other lamp that we looked at that I said would be fairly straightforward? Yeah, I mean, look at this. This thing is taped together. I didn't see that in the initial video because the rust was so bad it was deteriorating. You can see the hole in this section right here. That's how bad the rust is. So I actually had to rebuild one of these clamps. But on the bright side, I also didn't see this. Check out this little glass peephole here. That's pretty cool. Well, we've got them done. Now to the electrical part. So this was what I was thinking of doing, is something with like a little lithium cell battery. I kind of make these just little units around my house because we have the power go out quite a bit. So I kind of just make these jank little lanterns that I put in the house, like 12 volt light, and you could kind of adjust it here and turn it on and put it like in the bathroom or in the bedrooms, wherever around the house. And that way when the power's out, it's a really nice thing to have. But I didn't like that for these for a couple reasons. So I kind of looked around, I tried a few different things, and what I ended up going with that I think really kind of fits the nostalgia of these. What they did is this here. So it's a little candle, an electric rechargeable candle. It kind of has a nice soft light glow to it. So it kind of is reminiscent of the same kind of color spectrum you'd have with the flame, and as a bonus, it's got a remote control. So check this out. You could turn these things on and off, so you don't have to reach your hand in there to do anything. And then it has this cool feature here. It's a flicker feature. So it really tends to look authentic, right? So we'll turn this off, and then I'll show you the other issue I had. This is USB-C, so you can just kind of charge them up when they go dead. And I think this was the best solution to my problem here. So the other issue I ran into was once this glass was in, I kind of couldn't get down in there and make it easy. I mean, sure, you can take the glass out, but I didn't like it. So I had an idea, right? 3D printer to the rescue. This was what I kind of came up with. I love my 3D printer. This hole in the bottom there, I'll show you that in a second, and then the hole in the top for the candle. So here's that bottom hole. And this is going to hold a magnet, and this section here is going to hold the candle. And I did something, you can see the magnet down in the bottom there. This was my first one that I was working on off camera here. And I measured this thing to sit right at the same height. Let me show you guys. This oil lantern is the same height as this little raised platform that I made for the candle. So that way it's kind of quite a bit easier to reach your hand in there and put these in. So this is what I did off camera. You can see I glued a magnet to the inside of this, and then I glued a magnet to the inside of here. And the poles are attracted to each other. They're aligned in such a way that as you just set this in, it automatically just snaps it right in the center, which is pretty nice. So remember how many cocktails you've had at your outdoor patio. You could just kind of hold this thing, set it somewhere in there, and just drop it, and it centers itself. So I usually try to do that. 2 magnets, and then cause them to auto align. I'll show you guys how I did that, because it seems pretty straightforward, but there's a little bit of a process that I do, because I use these in a lot of my 3D prints. So these are the magnets that I use. They're those little neodymium rare earth magnets. I really like these things. I buy them in different sizes. And I made this print to fit perfectly on this magnet. So then I use this glue here. Let me show you guys this. It's a CA glue. There's all different brands of it. This is one I use quite a bit for a few of the different projects that I work on. So I'm going to show you how I actually do this, the steps I take, because again, it's not really complicated, but it's a series of steps that help this succeed. So first, I put the magnets together and make sure the poles align, and they'll just auto align. Then I get some glue and put it into the base first. So in this case, I'm just using a little toothpick here. I'll just dab a little bit of glue in here. So now remember, the magnets are already aligned. Now I'll put some glue in here. And then here's where that activator comes in. This activator makes the glue cure instantaneously. So I'll take the activator and then I spray it on the magnet, right? Now, as soon as I put this magnet onto the CA glue, it's instantly cured. So that's it. This is already kind of cured. The magnet in the plastic is cured in there. I can pull off this one here and it's good to go, but I don't pull it off. So what I do is I then sprayed this activator inside the base here, and then put glue on the magnet. So it's a little different process how I did the other. So in doing it this way, I have found this is kind of the best way for me to attach things like this. So I'll just put a little bit. Remember, a little goes a long way with this. If you get too much and you glue the magnets together, you're stuck. See what I did there? So now pay really close attention. This is the one spot where you can't be having any cocktails. Find the center, drop it in there, give it a little push, and that's it. It's cured. So now this is perfectly aligned. I'll say perfectly with air quotes here, but it's perfectly aligned in the center. I'm sure you could probably do things to make it really perfect. It was really, if it was really important. But in this case, just roughly in the center there, I think is going to be good. And then check this out. It's already cured, so you can pull this out. With all hope, the magnet stays in the bottom, which it did, which shows the glue is cured, because it's staying in the bottom there means that its attachment to the metal was, it works. So now we'll just put this glass in, and we can set the candle in. You got to turn it on first, and then you could take the remote control and turn it off, but at least the power to it is on. Now, pop that in there. We'll get the other one here. This one's already on. We'll set that in there, and we're kind of ready for the grand reveal, right? So give me a second here and let you guys see what these look like. I think they came out pretty nice. I like that that glow that the candles give, that little flicker effect. I think it's pretty cool. I ended up printing 3 of those supports, the candle supports for this big one in the back, just because those Fresnel lenses were so thick that it took a little bit for the light to kind of penetrate them. But you could see by the reflection here, this red on the cap, that it's definitely, it looks really nice when it's dark out, which, let's face it, that's when you're going to use these. So that's what we came up with here. I really like the end result. I want to hear what you guys think. You like what this looks like? Any suggestions, comments? Be sure and leave them in the comment section below. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or evening. I'm going to get out of here now and let you listen to the smooth sound of a distant train. Thanks for hanging out. It was a lot of fun. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.